We've got Ian Wright. We finally got Ian. Guys, as you understand, this is a new normal for all of us, but we do have Ian. Ian, welcome to the show.
How you doing?
I'm well. I said so much about how swaggy you're going to be looking, and there you are, looking great as normal. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for your kind words, man. Just listening to Quentin there is brilliant.
Quentin, we've had so many people that would love to ask you questions that couldn't wait to get to this point. Let's get right into it. You know, when you look at your career and where you are now, you know, what do you make of your entire journey?
Well, you know, I don't know. It's very hard when you look back like that, because while you're in it, you're just trying to achieve, and you're trying to stay focused. And when you listen to all the stuff that Quentin was saying, it's about working hard, you know, doing all the right things. So you don't get time to look at what you're actually doing. And then when you finish playing now, and people talk about your career and, you know, when it came up when I was younger, you know, how hard it was to get there, and then finally getting there, then you achieve. You know, it's now you look back and you think, I'm quite pleased with the way it's gone. But the thing is that I tried to work as hard as I can, as hard as I could, every single day. So when I went to training, I made sure that every single day in training, I trained and the best I could. So as I was always the very best. So when I look back at it now, I know I put the work in. And so I'm very proud of the fact that I was able to, for such a long period of time, try to continue to attain the very, very best I could be every time I played.
I saw Arsenal lifting the FA Cup this past season, and it took me back to 1990. You scored 2 goals in that match. Do you still have those flashbacks? Whenever that happens, they lift the FA Cup. Do you relive 1990?
You're joking. Anytime you mention the FA Cup, I remember this. Simply because when we were growing up, the FA Cup, and I'm sure it would happen all over Africa as well, was one of the main football games that was around the world. And they used to talk about it all the time. When I was young, I've watched every single FA Cup from 1970 all the way through. It was the main game that I would watch, and it's something that you could only dream about maybe getting a chance to play. You know, even to see Wembley. I never went to Wembley until I played in that game.
What?
So I never even went to Wembley. I had no business. I was at Palace. I wasn't nowhere near the England game. We were nowhere near playing for England, I should say. The Palace weren't doing stuff where you could be getting to play at Wembley. So I never went to Wembley. I only saw Wembley on the television, all those games when I was growing up. So to finally get there, and the funny thing is that season I nearly missed it because I broke my leg twice, the fibula on my left side. So I thought I was going to miss the game. So when I finally got there, and, you know, we're losing 2-1, and, you know, it's 70 minutes, I'm thinking Steve Coppell, he's not going to put me on. Then he put me on with 70 minutes, man. And honestly, all I said to myself was, wherever I get the ball, when I go on there, I'm getting it out my feet, I'm shooting. That's all I'm going to do. And the thing is, it's funny because I was running around trying to catch my breath. Firstly, it was very spongy. And then I remember the first time I kind of really got the ball was when Mark Wright played it to me. So remember, I'm thinking in my head, just want to get it out my feet. But when I done that, Mike Phelan was in the way. And when I got past Mike Phelan, Gary Pallister was in the way. So I had to beat him, cut inside, then I put it under the goalkeeper, Jim Leighton. And for me, if I never ever done anything else in respects of football, winning the league, winning the trophies, playing for England, that moment in itself, on its own, would have been enough for me in my career, because it was the dream that I never thought I'd ever realize.
It was absolutely amazing. I mean, even for us here in South Africa watching it, and even those that are younger that keep seeing those games now, and what you had to give was amazing. But it hasn't stopped there. Not only are you this new stylish analyst on TV, but even there you've gone on to be brilliant at doing that as well. What keeps you going to achieve new goals? Is it a mindset that starts from when you're a player?
Absolutely. What I'm trying to do now with the punditry, which I feel is a vital role in football, is to try and give insight. I try to speak and try to give a clarity that will make people who don't watch football understand what's just happened. And I work a lot, I read a lot to find out that, you know, the main thing is to try and give insight. To be able to have played football for a living, and then you're able to speak about football for a living, you're in a very privileged position. So you owe it to yourself to make sure that you're giving the very best that you can. The motivation for me is to be the best at what I'm doing, give people insight, and make people feel like they want to do it as well. Work hard to do it. Like Quinton said, you know what I mean? When you look at Quinton and what Quinton's actually achieved coming from South Africa and getting to the top, playing for one of the greatest clubs in the world, you know, we could do anything. And for me, to be able to play football and now talk about football to try and pass it on is blessed. I'm blessed and I know it. So I'll just try and be the best I can. Like I say, I haven't changed my attitude, even when I played, is be the best you can in anything you choose to try and give somebody else the inspiration to move forward.
Speaking of inspiration, we've got a lot of messages that are coming through for Ian Wright. All of them are speaking about the inspiration you gave to people that weren't even supportive of the teams that you played for. They were supporting other teams. And I can tell you now, black children across the world were inspired, having seen what you were able to do and achieve. Ian Wright, thank you so much. We really do appreciate your time with us.
Thank you. My pleasure. God bless everybody.
Ian Wright, ladies and gentlemen, who would have thought? Right here, Cadbury bringing you Ian Wright. Hearing that story, I mean, I'd never actually heard that story. I've read so much about Ian Wright. He had never, ever been until that day. There he is at Wembley when he gets to play. Other than that, he had never been there. Ian Wright truly is a legend, regardless of the team you support. And he's brilliant as a pundit. I agree. Ex-footballers don't always make the transition to do that well. Kurja there with some jabs as well, but he is spot on. Here is a man that is able to do that. I want to switch off now.